So that's the framework piece. Now from the content, you've got business glossary, technical and functional definitions, your data system catalog, which is like information about all the different data systems that you have, the technical metadata there, tagging or supplemental information about that data, like, what is, privacy codes or classifications or additional, clarification or definitions of the things that are in your data systems. Data processing catalog, which might be considered a report catalog. I'd like to expand that though to say that documentation or understanding all the different reports you have, but also things like ETLs, moving data from one process to another, or surveys or APIs, all that kind of stuff. Lineage, your data requests, the data request process and the actual managing requests. Data ownership that includes your sort of functional area assignments for things. Oh, this is a registrar term or an HR term. The domain with which those live, as I just said, and who are the stewards over that, and what are the sort of classifications around that ownership. Data quality, understanding the if there's any data quality issues, either real or perceived. What's the assessments of that data quality, the actual rules defined for that, and monitoring of that. Reference data, understanding the management of your reference data, your list of code values or valid values or statuses and things like that. Mappings between systems and monitoring of whether or not those things have changed. Policy attributes, which is important. This is about, be it your data system or your report or your business glossary, adding putting attributes on those around, security classification, privacy codes, data sharing agreements, data retention policies, data access rules, all those types of things. Managing changes and versioning and item dependency across all this stuff. Dealing with external data standards like, IPEDS or the Common Data Set or the state of, Texas, the Texas Higher Education Commission definitions or whatever those things might be. And then also just managing your overall policies and procedure documentation, not just the attributes, but like what is our, what are the set of standards that we have for privacy or data retention, things like that. So those are all your sets of content that we've talked about that you need to manage holistically. And as I mentioned, IR often focus on business glossary and maybe the report catalog and the data request. That's a lot of what people have done in our data cookbook world. That's fallen into what we call our knowledge edition, which is really very like glossary and narrative focused. And what we're seeing is a lot more interest now, growing interest in this data system catalog, the technical details, and tracking those very, very carefully and governing those, not just acknowledging the existence of it and siloed documentation of it, but bringing that into an institutional governance of that, as well as lineage and quality and things that really bring technical components to the forefront of that. And there are tools that focus very specifically on things like lineage and quality and metadata management, right? And there are tools that focus on glossary and requests and things like that and stewardship. What we offer with our tool is the thing that brings all those things together. And what I would like you to think about is whether or not if you started off focusing just on glossary and a few of these narrative type things, are you running to a point where you're not getting much of adoption because your organization is, the rest of your organization is looking at these other components, right? And how do you bring that in? And also, how hard is that to do?